The first thing that you have to consider is what Jesus called his disciples to initially, with his initial calling. And right there in Matthew chapter 4, you have Jesus going up to his first disciples.
He said to the 12, "Come follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." He didn't say, "Come to my class, and I'm going to teach you a lot about Scripture." He didn't say, "I'm going to give you a degree or make you experts in theology." He said, "Come follow me." And that's what made the 12 disciples, was that they followed him and they applied what he taught right then together.
This is something that we've really been emphasizing at Seacoast Church over the past couple of years, encouraging our groups to become missional. We found that when groups just get together and they study, there's some great studies out there, but when they just get together and study the Bible and they do these different studies, that they become ingrown and there's no expression of their faith.
When you get together with your small group, it's not just how many people show up at the house each week. It's not, again, the curriculum that we've studied and whether we're on task to meet all 4 steps of the doctrinal series that we're on, but it's how are we at being a follower of Jesus and a fisher of men.
And so I think that there's several things that a small group pastor or a pastor or leader can do to help turn that ship and help the people in the group and in the church and in the ministry begin to think more outwardly. First of all, I think the pastor needs to talk about outwardness all the time. If it's not on his lips, if it's not coming out of his mouth, the leader's mouth, every time they open their mouth, the people aren't going to get it. The second thing is not only does it need to be on your lips, but it needs to be in your heart. These people aren't going to follow me somewhere that I haven't been, in some place that I'm not willing to go. The disciples followed Jesus wherever he went because he went. And so we've got to have that in our heart. And then the last thing, practically speaking, it has to be in our strategy. You've got to focus some attention on developing a strategy that gets people literally off the couch and into the community.
They're not just a place for relationship, they're a place for mission. And mission can mean a lot of different things depending upon who makes up that group. But essentially saying, okay guys, we come together, every week. And why? Why are we coming together? Sure, we're building into one another's lives, and that needs to be a part of what we're doing, but are we challenging one another to go out and then do the mission so that when we come back together, we have stories to tell of what God's doing through us.
As you serve with the people in your group, you're going to get to know them better, and you're going to have a shared experience that's going to define and characterize the kind of community that you have. There are going to be conversations that you have with people as you're painting a wall or you're mowing someone's grass that you're just not going to have when you're sitting around a living room around a coffee table eating cookies and drinking Kool-Aid. We've actually created a team of people that will help our small groups form those outreach opportunities. We've got a team of folks who almost act as consultants to leaders and help the group find the kind of service opportunity that fits the personality and the interest of their group and help set that up for them. Instead of having a system where we say this is how a group is going to look and then asking leaders to come serve that vision, we kind of turn it on its head and say, what is your vision? What is your passion? How has God uniquely wired you? And then how can we as a church come alongside your vision and equip you and empower you and unleash you to make disciples in the way that God has uniquely wired you to do it? So we have traditional Bible study type small groups that are studying books of the Bible, studying books of Christian inspiration. We've also got groups that are based around interest, people that are interested in sign language, in the arts, lots of different kinds of groups because there are lots of different kinds of people. And we're seeing people come into a group around a shared interest, and then that leader who's intentional about building relationships with those people, it gives them an awesome opportunity to help people take the next step in their faith, people that might not be willing to jump into a regular inductive Bible study kind of environment. We have a fantasy baseball group. It's a small group that's built around a shared interest in fantasy baseball, and the way that leader has turned that interest into a God moment kind of group is that they adopted a Little League field. Every Saturday of the season, they're out there chalking the lines, mowing the grass, preparing that field for these Little League teams. Their goal is to make that field the most wanted to play upon field in DC. And over a couple of years now of doing this, coaches and parents and kids league commissioners have begun asking, why do you do this year after year? And it's given us an opportunity to share the love of Christ in a very practical way.
They might not be creative, or they might be afraid of getting out and just finding some way to serve. So you, as the leader in the church, get out there, identify some partners in the community, become partners with them where you can do mission together, and then bring your groups along and say, this is how we serve the community. This is how we love people who don't know Christ. This is how we reach out and talk to people who need to hear more about Jesus.
And so I think there's got to be an interesting balance there. My fear is that we're going to start getting a little crazy and saying all we need to be doing is serving people out in the community. And I think you also need to do both. You need to be able to invest in people who are Christ followers, invest in people who are part of your community, but you also need to challenge them to go out. And so to find that balance within group life, I think is going to be pretty important.
And so we've cast a whole new vision for our small groups to be missional, to get out and be a part of transforming the community. And we've taken our hands off. You know, we're no longer organizing and signing people up to go do mission in the community. We're telling our small groups, you look in your neighborhood, look in the schools around your area, look in your community. What can you and your small group do to go make a difference for Christ in your community?